Cool. Let's jump into what I brought for us for this first episode. I think it actually ties super well in what we were just talking about because it kind of pushes it onto another side of what's happening in America, especially, but in society. So let's first pull up the first thing, which is what we're going to be talking about is actually the psychedelic revolution.
Nice.
What's really interesting, what's happening on the new earth right now, on this transition period, is we're actually seeing the most psychedelic use that we've ever seen in recorded history. This
Nice.
is more than the 1960s. This is, I mean, it
Wow.
is increasing really fast. And so we can look at one of these charts that I pulled up showing the usage. I mean, we're having 12 million people around taking psychedelics annually. This is 12
Wow.
million people just in America. This is not even talking about the rest of the world. But we're just starting to see this increase of psychedelic use and why this is super important when it comes to what we're all explaining about with all these all these wars and also just the transition period is because the third pillar, this really puts into perspective of this union and this metaphysics of all these concepts and frameworks across the world. Psychedelics do a great job of that. But also, it's really making us question the authority systems that were really in place. I mean, you don't even have to take psychedelics nowadays to start questioning, I mean, the governments and the systems that are in place and that are failing. And I think we continue to look at a few of the other things. What's important to see with also the psychedelic revolution is not all of that, but we're also seeing just the rise in spirituality in general. And so people are seeking non-traditional answers and the rise of spirituality, but not religion, because religion is really just the organization, the institutions that are, for better or for worse, are creating confusion in society. And if you look at also the charts of lowering of alcohol consumption is actually the lowest it's ever been in recorded history
Wow.
since we have from around the 1939 in this graph. We actually hit the lowest it's ever been at, I think, 53 or 54%. And this is especially happening in the younger generation. And if you trust the older generation or your generation more than youngers, then you need to learn some metaphysics. The younger people are always tapped in more than you. And we're just starting to see, well, if they're not drinking alcohol and they're not having these things, it's seemingly actually the psychedelics that people are more gravitating towards. I mean, let's see how common marijuana is now used as a recreational usage, and also the legalization that is occurring with all these loopholes. And we can even see these loopholes in psilocybin itself. I mean, you can go to gas stations in America and find psilocybin loophole chocolate bars. And then across that, you go into all these universities who are doing psychedelic treatments. Now, since the 60s, it was kind of pushed back and we weren't able to do any research on it. But now this is one of the most heavily researched stuff is psychedelics and meditation and all these wellness practices. So it's very interesting to see all this, coalesced with this collapse of the United States government and how you're seeing this unique experience where everyone's becoming more decentralized, becoming their own authority in their own life and spirituality, while we having forced this decentralization in humanity. I think you can just see the rabbit trail, the trailblazing happening right in front of us. How no matter what, we're kind of just marching towards a new earth. So it's just up to us. Do we make it a smooth ride? Do we ride the wave? Or are we falling off of it? I'll let you talk about that before we go into this a little deeper because I have some more about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, seems the theme here is let truth dictate the authority,
Right,
not let authority dictate the truth, right?
right,
And so that's this decentralization of religion is exactly evidence of that, as people are letting truth dictate the authority because they're questioning. And then the rise of psychedelic use goes hand in hand with that, being that, well, what does psychedelics make you do? They make you question everything. They make you look at everything from a new alternative perspective that
Mm-hmm.
you didn't look at it before. And a lot of people could speculate that's possibly why psychedelics were outlawed in the first place. It's because, well, if you don't want your people to question authority or question the nature of your systems, then don't allow them to take these medicines that are going to change their way of thinking and allow them to question authority even more. So, yeah, I mean, definitely really fascinating data to see there because, I mean, I had the feeling, of course, that this was happening, but great to look
Mm-hmm.
at it and just see it playing out like that.
Yeah, and we can continue down this rabbit hole because to me it's one of the more interesting aspects along with all these economic things because it's not really just, we can point to psychedelics in general, but it's actually just the wellness industry is actually the fastest growing industry in the world right now,
Hmm.
projected to be 9 trillion by 2028,
Wow.
9 trillion in income.
Yeah.
So we're seeing this growth happening really fast, this push towards the wellness industry. And we can, say this is because we're questioning the authority being, governments, being big pharma, and all these
Mm-hmm.
things, and people
Mm-hmm.
just looking for the capital T truth,
Yeah.
finding reality how it truly is. And so we're seeing wellness industry, we're seeing spirituality, and all these more decentralized systems, and all these more spiritual pursuits happening in the experience. And I think one of the huge things that is often misunderstood is that I think a lot of it's coming from the globalization happening through the internet itself. This is
Mm.
the actual positive side
Mm-hmm.
to a lot of the negatives that most people harp on. But the positive side of it is that all this information is decentralized. It's just spread out there. You can go find and
Mm.
research whatever you want, and especially with AI, you will find exactly what you want to find,
Mm-hmm.
for better or for worse.
Right.
And so, like nowadays, I mean, the most popular people in the influential space is talking about psychedelics. I mean,
Yeah.
you have people like Jake Paul talking about ayahuasca all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, Santa Cruz, a really popular guy now in LA, he talks about psilocybin and ayahuasca. And I think one of the craziest cases that's recently happening is Bryan Johnson, especially after his
Oh yeah.
psilocybin and 5-MeO experience.
Yeah.
So I have a few of his tweets that I love for you to look at.
Yeah.
It's just kind of him talking about post his 5-MeO DMT experience
Mm-hmm.
and just his integration process
Mm.
of we're seeing this guy who was so deep into the matrix of entrepreneurship going for now health, and now
Mm-hmm.
he's diving deep into psychedelics. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these tweets are showing like easily he's like seeing the matrix behind like, oh, this is all just written by my own story of my head.
Mm.
So it's really interesting, and I love for you to read some of these, and also I can't wait for you to see the last one because I think the last one sums it all up.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, you think I should just read it out loud?
Yeah, you can.
All right. So, in that moment, I'm experiencing the unfathomable nature of existence, stunned beyond comprehension and teetering on the edge of collapse or liberation. Locked in and holding space, Kate's full strength radiates and washes over me. Our dyad is the most surprising gift of my life. My expectations of life partnership were always tame. I had witnessed functional relationships, practical ones and dysfunctional ones. Never did I have the privilege of witnessing a dyad holding hands as they explored the abyss. What would that feel like, and what could be dared? Kate held the rope as I stepped into the expanse, steadying me with her unflinching devotion, never once hesitating, making the unknown bearable. Nowhere in our imaginations did we ever expect this would be our shared life. Yet the path here sits in parallel with my ultimate liberation within the reality unveiled by this molecule. I assume 5-MeO DMT.
Yeah, this is post 5-MeO.
Yes, yes without condition. Yes without prerequisite. Yes to all things. Wow, I love that.
Yeah, so that was post 5-MeO.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a few more of his post 5-MeO and also post psilocybin.
All right, he says 10 days post 5-MeO DMT, my body can't sleep enough. I'll sleep 8 hours plus, midday hour nap plus 9 hours that night. Whoa. Mine feels really fast. Sex drive up by 2 to 3 times. Kid vibe excitement levels about life. Dreams are vivid, more alive than I can remember. Previous normalized scrolling now seems insane. Societal norms generally feel insane to me. How we trade our existence for ephemeral things. I feel more self-aware and robust at handling conflict. I feel love more deeply. And then he says in another tweet, something happened in the past 6 months, post-psilocybin and 5-MeO-DMT, that I can't fully explain. The brain data helps, but doesn't complete the picture. Feels like a home I didn't know I was looking for. Oh, he's sun-maxing! Let's go! Wait, what? What?
Yeah.
I never would have expected that. He was so
Right.
afraid of the sun.
Right.
Okay, so for context, my criticism of Bryan was always that he's doing all this longevity health maxing stuff, but he's afraid of the sun, so he's a fool. That was always my critique.
Right.
And this is hilarious. 5-MeO-DMT wakes him up to the fact that the
Right.
sun is the best medicine in the world.
Right. And it's like give that guy credit. Like, he's doing a lot of great science before all of this, obviously. Like, he is pushing the boundaries of it. He's very smart, and he has a lot of good resources, and he has really good intentions. But like you were saying, it's kind of foolish to think like all of humanity has been under the sun. You know, the sun is giving everything life. And so to be afraid of the sun, it just always seems really confusing from a metaphysical stance, from a spiritual stance, from our stance.
Yeah.
And so now it's really funny seeing him dive into his own spirituality through psychedelics, like showing this to the world. He is very open about his whole transition. Like he's very open book about this all, which is
awesome.
amazing. And
Really.
I think this really just emphasizes all the points that I was making before about this whole system, about the psychedelic revolution, about the wellness industry, and about how the influencers, the globalization is really happening through this internet, through the tool that we got. And AI is also making this really fast. Anyone can jump onto ChatGPT and kind of find exactly what they're looking for. No longer are things getting, I mean, obviously they're still getting a little bit under the, like washed under, but ChatGPT can uncover a lot of things and create a lot of new ideas and new concepts and put together a lot of frameworks that were usually isolated. So I think this is a very exciting time, and it's crazy to see how just modern society is getting into this transition period, how rapid it's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, just like half a decade ago, like even marijuana was still very, like people were very scared and skeptical, and now you can find it in grocery stores, and your grandma is now drinking CBD or THC seltzers.
Yeah.
So it's like, how fast is this really happening? And just like Terrence McKenna said, it's like, it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder. It's going to get so weird, we're going to have to start talking about it.
Yeah.
So now we're there.
We're there. That's this podcast.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think that's amazing. I love to see, whenever celebrities have these big public awakenings, like, Jim Carrey, Aaron Rodgers, all these things. So this is another great one to see. Just this is the pill that the biohacking community needs. Right, and Bryan's giving it to him for sure. So love to see that. Love to see the sun maxing. This is I didn't know about this at all. So this is my genuine reaction. This is awesome.
Yeah, dude, epic, right?
Yeah.
Epic. Cool.
Federal prohibition of psychedelic medicine in America is over. On the 250th year. On the 250th year of our nation's founding, everyone who has fought for this day through decades of monumental struggle, sacrifice, and suffering can now declare a seminal victory for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, rights we bear as images of our eternal Creator, whose essence is almighty, eternal, unconditional love for each and every one of us.
Yeah, that's pretty fire.
Is the end of the beginning. We have moved mountains, yet there are...
Yeah, so I think with those clips, we got the gist of what's happening. I think this is funny because last time we were talking about how psychedelics were becoming more popular and becoming more of a mainstream thing. And now, right after we had that conversation, maybe a week after,
Yep.
I mean, these clips happened. Trump, has all these orders about psychedelics and drug research. What I think is also really important to note about these is that while this is a huge success, we're just moving, the culture into the right direction. You do want to be very wary because we can look at a lot of these fields when the government starts taking charge of it, how much it's actually kind of miscued in a lot of ways. I think a huge example is the cannabis industry. Now that cannabis that is now an industry itself kind of has its own issues with pesticide usage and just a lot of poor understanding of how these plant medicines really work. And so what happens when big pharma has psychedelics and we're using big pharma psychedelics, like we do have to still be cautious on this front, but this is still a huge win. Just having this opportunity for research to be done on these things is a huge thing. I mean, it's been banned for a long time with a lot of these psychedelics. So I'm excited to see what the research says. Just you always with a grain of salt, who's funding the research and everything like that.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great point. So we can't get, too lost in the giddiness of our excitement. But it is a great, thing worth celebrating that took place. RFK, Joe Rogan, Trump came together and really, did something pretty huge for psychedelics for people. I think a lot of the attention was on Ibogaine and on veterans. So, I mean, those are the things that opened the door for, a lot of downstream healing and other uses that are going to be a result of that. But absolutely, your point that big pharma is going to screw it up somehow. The government's going to screw it up. Regulations will screw it up. Scientists with their materialist paradigms will screw it up.
Right.
Therapists trying to think they know what's best is going to screw it up. But at the end of the day, right? We'll see that constant movement towards more and more refined action.
Right.
Right. So, I think I'm pretty confident at least that we already know from the research, based on the research, the mainstream materialist scientist community already knows that ego death is the source of the healing with the psychedelic compounds, just as we discussed last time. And so that being already known and accepted, that's the biggest win, I would say, at that point is okay, most of the screw ups are probably going to come from corporate capture type things that, limit access and make it inconvenient. But the really good news is that while this will simultaneously open up opportunities for people to take these, have these experiences through formal legal means, it'll also make it easier to do it through less legal, more informal means that can produce just as equal healing processes and results. So, yeah, I mean, this is worth celebrating, absolutely.
Yeah,